let's make a Mussie Tussie. They have been around since the 15th century, but they became very, very popular in the Victorian era. It became a way to communicate and even was a fashion statement. We are going to start with well-conditioned flowers. You know that you cut your flowers early in the morning. You're going to cut nice, clean, angled stems, put them in nice, clean water, and keep them in a dark, cool space to condition so that they can hydrate well. And even if you get them from the florist or the grocery store, you're going to bring them home and do the same thing. You're going to cut the ends and put them in nice, clean water and let them condition. You can arrange them later in the day or the next day. I like to leave mine a full day before I start arranging. So today we're doing an informal Mussie Tussie. There's also a formal style, which is defined by concentric circles. The informal style is clusters of flowers in contrasting colors. So I'm going to start with these lovely Hermitage roses, and you can see that they've opened up. It's been warm today. If you were using roses in your arrangement the day before, I would make sure you put them in a cool, dark place because they do open up fast. If I were to leave this one in a warm place overnight, it would be as open as this one by morning. So you can put it in the fridge, you can put a bag over it so that the petals don't dry out, a plastic bag that is. All right, so the description from GCV is that we want to have contrasting colors, and they have a list of flowers that you can use. I would say as long as the flowers were in the Victorian gardens, it would be okay to use, and that's something that you could just Google. Okay. So I've got a nice soft pink. I'm going to use a nice red dahlia. And of course, in the Victorian time, they used the flowers to communicate. So not only was it a fashion statement, it was also a means to convey messages to someone you may be interested in romantically. The dahlia, I do believe, means dignity. I'm crisscrossing these stems as I go. I'm kind of twirling it in my hand as I go. I want to get rid of extra stems. By crisscrossing it, it makes the bouquet itself more stable. Dahlias sometimes are a little tricky because of that flat head. Okay. I'm going to put a phlox in. This phlox is Gina. It's a sweet little thing. It's got really tiny florets. It was discovered in the Brandywine area up in Delaware near Longwood Gardens. And it's just really sweet. It has a really nice fragrance. Turn that. Now, if your hand gets tired or you get a phone call or something like that, you can put your arrangement down. You can use a piece of bind wire, something like this, and quickly wrap it and then set it in a vase, and then you can pick it back up where you left off. I think I'm going to use some of these orange Austin roses to contrast. around. Now, if you do use dahlias, you know not to use the dinner plate dahlias because they're going to be way, way too big. Something about roses, when you are processing them or conditioning them, it's best to leave the thorns on until you actually arrange with them. By taking the thorns off prior, you're allowing bacteria into the stem of the flower sometimes. And you can just strip it. I like to just strip it off with like a heavy cloth, the thorns, that is. And I'm just, I don't know if you can see, kind of got a twist at the center. It's holding it all together. It was the Mussie Tussies of the Victorian time. Well, and before then, really the 15th century, it was heavily used with herbs and really fragrant blossoms because it was originally used to cover up the smell of the plague. So they use lots of herbs. So that's a characteristic of having fragrance. This is lavender. Lavender signals devotion. One of the herbs that I thought was interesting is basil. That signifies hate. So be careful using that one. Okay, I think I need a little more contrast on this one. I think I'm going to carry this burgundy through with the Cosmos. Rather, I like this Cosmos. And I think being a more informal style, you can have a little bit of fluffy bounce. You know, whereas the formal style is going to be a little more tight and not have as much play, as much movement in it. You can get more of the country, cottagey garden look with the informal style. Cosmos indicates modesty. Really don't know what I'm saying completely with this bouquet. I don't know. I feel like the dahlias on this side is a little bit heavy. And sometimes when you have a heavy space, you can cut it by a looser flower across it. But in this case, I think what I might just do is eliminate and just have one and then put in, how about this Julia Child? This Julia Child rose, and that will pull the peachy yellow out of the rose there across. This is another sweet little dahlia. Again, I'm kind of turning and making it come across. I feel like I need like a little bud, little rose bud there. Oh, here's another little Julia. Oh, here she is. Here she is. hate to do it to you, Julia, but these blossoms are just too big. I just want the bud. And then by morning, the other will have opened a little bit. Here's another Julia. There we go. All right, now I don't want this to get too big because that's a characteristic of it. It has to be small and compact. It needs to be easily carried. It's characterized by fragrant flowers or herbs, you know, and you can either display it as a bouquet in a vase, a paper cone, in a paper doily, or a doily itself. I'm going to finish it off with some begonia leaves. I like to finish all of my hand-tied bouquets with some sort of underskirt. I don't like to see those naked stems. And the begonia leaves have that really nice vein, red vein underneath. Oops, it needs to come off there. It's kind of like their petticoat. Speaking of modesty, you don't want to see their naked little stems. This is truly a little mussy tussie. Okay. Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to, you can use floral tape. This is waterproof floral tape. Just go around it a couple of times. Enough to keep it together. You can either, as I said, put it in a Victorian vase for a display, for exhibit. They would have either carried it, also could have carried it in a doily. You can do it in a paper doily. You can also make yourself a paper cone to display it in. Oh no, I lost my dahlia head. Not the end of the world. And this I would just finish off with a, just would tie it off. Now, if you are going to exhibit your bouquet alone, not in a vase, I would highly recommend quick dipping your stems. Quick dip is a product that helps super hydrate. It opens up the vessels of the flower stems to really take in water. And that just really helps to condition them. Now, if you make this the day before exhibit, I would put it in water, put it in the fridge. I would put a plastic bag over it and leave it that way in the dark. The bag, again, is going to help super hydrate those petals. Okay, and this is an informal mussy tussie. If you have questions, you know how to reach me.